Guys, the weather's been pretty miserable of late, so I just wanted to maybe do some hack videos which you guys might enjoy or be able to use. So today I'm just going to show you how to make a simple homemade rod leash. Obviously it saves the rods from falling over. You might see them in some of my videos. In fact, last weekend dropped a rod overboard, went completely under, and if it wasn't for the rod saver, would have lost it. So yeah, I'm going to just show you a very quick way of how to make your own rod leashes. So here we go. So first things first, you're going to need some line trimmer, and the diameter I like to use is the 2mm diameter. You can get this from Bunnings or any of your hardware shops, and I buy lots of 50 meters at a shot. Hope you guys can see that alright, but yep, that's what I get. Take the cord out the back. The next thing you're going to need is a dowel rod. This is about I think it's about a 10mm dowel rod. And you're going to want to drill a nice 2mm hole right on this side, and then round about whatever the length of your leash holder, around about 25 centimeters, you want to drill another hole. So you eventually land up with something, once it's all untwisted and so forth, it's around about that long. So I'll show you how to do it. The first thing I'll do, find the end of this, chuck that on the floor. Some side cutters, you want to just cut the end nice and sharp there. Shove it through the end hole and leave yourself a nice long tag. I find these long tags here will eventually be able to fold over, and you'll be able to put a clip on it or something like that. Right, so around about that much is alright. Then you get your electric drill. So it's this end of the dowel rod and the electric drill. This end here, you want to carefully kind of do the first wrap, so you turn your drill quite quietly. Like that. Alright, drill's good to go, and you just wind it on. That's why I put this thing on the floor, because it gets a bit tangled as you go. Keep going. Try and keep the wraps tight. You can see when the wraps don't get tight, sometimes you get these little gaps, but it's alright I suppose. Get right to the end there. Again, cut yourself a nice longer piece. I just want to snip this edge so it's sharp, it'll thread through nicely. Right. Now, without letting it all go, because pretty spring loaded at this point, you want to pull that through like that, and there you go. Take this off the drill and you have your nice little wrap, and then off to your kettle, and you want to boil the kettle nicely. And you want a nice long tray like this, and then basically soak this in some hot water. I'll just wait for that kettle to boil. I'm not going to bore you with that. Right, so our kettle has just boiled. And all you really want to do is just pour it over that, turn it over, pour it on this side. Those longer pieces, try and get them to straighten out a bit. That's about it really. You want to kind of just keep that straight out that way if you can. That. And then this side also just keep flat. Straighten that one out a bit. Right, and then straight under a cold tap. Sorry about the dishes, just had breakfast, so there we go. Now, some guys, say that you should soak it in hot water. I don't believe you need to do that. It just takes a couple of seconds in the hot water, really. Pull this off, you'll see it unwind, and then pull this side off. Oh, it's a bit folded. My bad. All good. Fold it over. Anyway, that's what you land up with. I've made a couple here that have been better. So yeah, that's the first stage, and we'll move on to how you secure these with your clips and so forth next. Alright, so we're at the next phase now, where we're going to be adding our snap hooks, and you can get these from Bunnings. Also, don't get the cheap ones, rather get the slightly more expensive ones. These are about $8 for, I think it's about 6. The cheap carabiners that you buy that are aluminium, they rust over here, and then they generally break off. So try and avoid getting the cheap ones. Lighter, you just want to create like a bubble on the end of this. Try not to burn your fingers, which I've done a number of times. And that bubble of plastic, melted plastic, will create a stopper. And you'll see how that works in a second. Alright, then cut yourself some shrink tubing. I think this is around about 6mm. It's got to go over the double loop, so you want a fairly sizable one. Alright, that's cool enough. Now, alright, make your loop, and the shrink wrap goes over it. Right, now the loop can be any size, but I like to keep it long, and you can shrink it on somewhere around there. When you're shrinking this, you kind of want to get the two pieces of cable as close as they can. Obviously, if you don't shrink it enough, everything's going to slide out, and that's going to defeat the purpose. But I've had rods go into the water, and I'm talking about heavy game rods, and they have not pulled this out. So I don't believe, and I've yet to see anyone get pulled out on it. So the idea is that it may pull up, but it shouldn't pull out with that bubble on the end. And then as a secure measure, you just want to get a cable tie on here. Okay. Alright, there's one, and I normally put 2 on, just as a safety precaution. I'll try and put them far back so they're kind of out of the way and don't get too involved in what you're doing. That's it. You probably think, well, that's not going to work. I can assure you. The other thing that I do is these 2 little cable ties, I kind of just burn just the ends there as well, just to lock them up as well. That is not going to come out. So you can pull as much as you like. It's because of the proximity of the shrink wrap and the 2 cable ties and the bobble, that's not going to come undone. Then obviously you just add your clip, and there you have your rod saver. So I'll just grab one of my rod savers that I've got linked up onto one of my rods there. As you can see, I've got quite a few. I'll show you the different methods that I have for securing the rod savers. So this one is just a piece of rope with a clip to it and a piece of rope tied. There's a very convenient little gap on this one. There's a multicolored one I made. This is one of my homemade jobs. Again, you can get these stainless steel rings. They're very cheap. Two cable ties on there, and your rod saver clicks on there. You can see I've had this one for a long time. This is the actual rod that I was talking about that went overboard, substantially underwater, far out, dragged in the water, pulled behind a ski boat, and the entire rod saver did exactly what it was meant to do. So yeah, I'll show you the little stainless steel rings that I use. I have some in my boxes here. So these are the stainless steel rings. You can buy them again from Bunnings. I take one of those rings and simply attach it to the end of the rod with a cable tie or something of that nature. So yeah, you can see my bait stick. The ring is put on there. This one I didn't have a clip to it. I'm never going to take this one off this particular sabiki rod. It's probably my permanent thing there, so I didn't feel I needed a clip. I just attached it directly to the rod. But that's the idea. Larger cable tie, more significant one, and yeah, there's your rod saver, which you then obviously on your kayak or whatever it is, you want to be able to clip it on like that, and you know, if your rod falls off it, you're still going to be able to keep your rod. That's the idea. I can guarantee you I've made so many of these rod savers over the years of my fishing, and I have yet to lose a rod because of a poorly made rod saver. So yeah, today is one of those days where there's not much fishing done, and I'm going to make a couple of these rod savers, simply because you can see I have so many rods and only a couple of rod savers, so it's time for me to use this lousy weather and make some rod savers. I hope that helped a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.